We pray to thee, our God, this day, the blessings you provide. Woman, O King of Kings, beneath thy almighty wings.
Ain't nothing but dying on the street path, cause homies kill their partners and bring yams to the repast.
From ashes to ashes, from dust to dust, so it must be.
Fiends dying off the product in the street lab, cause homies kill their partners and bring yams to the repast. Repast.
O King of Kings, beneath thy almighty wings. In the comfort at times like these.
Send a bullet for sale. Commit a murder over minor figures. It's crazy when the one you'll take a bullet for is the only one behind the trigger. I'm trying not to lose it. I'm in love with Jehovah and I prove it. With the pen, I'm combating Satan through it, cause I keep giving my life for the embodiment of Judas. You don't know about the savagery I put in prayer. Looking in the killer's eyes, knowing that he couldn't care. Daydreaming at a casket that they couldn't stare. Brother, blood up on your shirt, knowing that you put it there. I show you what the streets will do to you. 2 years over 20, put the 22 to you. Lil' bro said he'll never see the world, but he knowin' for a fact he want a destination funeral. ODing on the fury, had to rehab. His homies kill their partners, then bring yams to the repast.
To the repass. Repass.
These tears falling uncontrollably when she passed. These cowards kill their women, then bring yams to the repast.
Repass.
I got an unhealthy connection to the ski mask. These cowards kill their partners, then bring yams to the repast.
Repass.
They
Wonder why we eat last.
They
Wonder why we blast.
Latin bangers let the text spray. Doing anything for they hefe. Black bangers, man, they never finish school, but according to the rules, they allowed to finish essays. We the worst on our best day. It's never right like a left day. Just wanna see the best day. Just wanna see the best day.
All praise to the Most High, Bahashan Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, man. Waking up the children of Israel, man. We're getting down to that nitty gritty. 11:59, man. About to cross over into that next day, man. Cross over into that Shabbat, that day of rest. Kwam Yah Sharala. All right. What we dealing with today? Man, we got brothers. They still trying to hold on to that BS doctrine, y'all. They still trying to hang on to the lies, man. These cats are still sitting around here thinking that this is our land. Failing to realize that the Bible is the black history that we have been lacking. Not this made-up history that you want to go off of your feelings. Yeah, I said it. A lot of these brothers is basing these doctrines off of just the way that they feel. This has nothing to do with facts. This is what grandmama told you. Thinking that grandma is somebody that was actually at a scholastic level of understanding when you know she didn't know much. I don't know why you putting Granny on that pedestal like that. If she was here today, she would tell you that she don't know not even a fraction of what we profess out in these streets, man. She would be lining up learning from us. But here you is hanging on to Granny's doctrine. Hanging on to what this old lady that had no common practice of reading. This is not a real reputable source of information that your grandma ever been. She was never that. She never tried to even pretend to be that one day of her life. You took a drunk conversation that she had. That's probably what it was. She was probably a little bit, you know what I mean, taking up on that grandpa's old cough medicine. And over there running at the mouth telling you all kind of things. Because what you don't realize, failing to realize, is that your grandmama, she hate herself more than you realize that you hate yourself today. Grandmammy and grandpappy had a constant reminder that they was inadequate based off of who they are. They were getting a constant reminder that they weren't accepted based off of who they were. That's just the biblical facts. These people had hate that's been instilled in them from the inception, the Most High, from the inception, that when the Most High said that if you don't keep these commandments, you're going to be cursed. Grandmammy was up under that curse. Might I remind you? Grandma was cursed with not having a clue about what's going on around her and how to get herself up out of her situation. Those people was void of the knowledge. So when we get brothers popping off at the side of the mouth today, fix my garment up, popping off at the side of the mouth today, thinking that they actually is a Native American, or what they say, the Aborigine. That ain't nothing but a damn fool professing his vain imagination. This is a somebody that actually has self-hate. When he looks in the mirror, he has issues on what he sees. So what he tries to do is try to gravitate. Tries to gravitate as much as he possibly can get away with to anything other than what he sees in that mirror. Desperately trying to get away and run from himself. That's why we got brothers out there that want to kill each other. It's almost like it's a sport. It's easy to say just for the sport of it in a lot of cases. It's because they don't have love for themselves. Because if they love themselves, they would be able to identify themselves with the next man. They would see themselves in the next man that looked like them.
Every day.
Instead of
over again. But now I'm gonna stop this.
Instead of wanting to murder them, they would see themselves, and that's something that they actually love. But if you hate yourself and then you look at the next black man and you end up hating him due to the fact that you actually hate yourself. Only a person that has been taught how to hate himself will come up with the music that is called black man idolizes. Only someone that subconsciously hates himself would want to rehearse them words. Fantasize about these things coming true.
I'm realizing the future surprising. I don't speak it.
Excuse me, I'm trying to get something right. I'm trying to get these music tones. Okay. They would hate themselves when they sit around there and they decide that they want to kill somebody that looks like them. You hear me? Give me one moment real quick. 1 second.
And I can hear the rocks cry, yeah. Bunch of rappers talking crazy while they dying. Pardon me while I fly in. The difference between a victim and victor is I am. I be gone fish, don't be looking for me. I be gone fish, I was looking for me, but they all miss. Don't be looking for me. I be gone fish, and you don't want no problems. We don't want no problems. You don't want no problems. We don't want no. I was a prisoner on the docket. The plug a hollow away like I'm living in with the socket. I'm running right in the depth, and you really could probably clock it. Dead wall on my street, so we figured we had to stock it. I'm golden up in my state, armor hardened up with the knowledge. Whole squad full of shooters, a warrior with the rocket. They tell you to hit the block, never tell you to go to college. Whole squad known to you, all the animals in the closet. God-given ain't nothing to do with luck, and I never could turn it down like the volume button was stuck. He saw me up in the mud, and he pulled me up out the muck. Officially 3 seasons, tell everybody to duck. I be gone fish, don't be looking for me. I be gone fish, I was looking for me, but they all miss. Don't be looking for me. I be gone fish.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, I just had to send a alert to one of my brothers. Text him real quick. Okay. So like we were saying, that's all self-hate. We can go to Deuteronomy 28. And we're going to go to 44 and we're going to see this stuff, man. Deuteronomy 28 and 53 we'll start at, man. Salakia. Deuteronomy 28 and 53, all right? So you see right here, as we go to Deuteronomy 28, he says, you shall eat the fruit of your own body and the flesh of your own sons. And according to Sirach 4 and 5, that just means to cause them to be poor. All right? So we're going to cause our kids to be poor. All right? And that straightness and siege wherewith your enemies shall besiege you, so that it shall grieve you that the man that is tender and exceedingly delicate among you to look on his brother and upon his wife that lies in his bosom, and on the remnant of his children, which he has yet left, for fear of giving unto any of them of the flesh of his children which he eats, because of nothing that's left in him of the straightness and siege wherewith the enemies shall besiege you in all your gates, so that the woman that is tender and delicate among you,
that close to death,
We're in trouble.
that she bear not to adventure to set the sole of her foot on the ground for softness and tenderness, shall have an evil eye towards her husband that lies in her bosom, and in her son, and in her daughters. And that's one of the things that we are facing when we sitting there and you see that proliferation of the self-hate. That's what's popping off, man. You're seeing that we have the condition from a divine entity that makes it to where we actually have self-hate. We hate our own people. And when you hate your own people, you are actually hating yourself. You can't hate your own people without negatively impacting yourself. That is that individual or that individual minded type of person that we have become to be over here in the United States of America is one of the main reasons why we don't have any foundational building blocks when it comes down to being for the so-called black men to becoming as one. All right, these things, Maranatha Akmalat. These things is one of the reasons why is because of the actual self-hate. So when you see people trying to say, well, we are the indigenous people of this land. Well, we know, well, what I say about that is, well, we know that we are the people of Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And the people of Deuteronomy 28 and 68 was told that these people were going to be brought into a place that their fathers did not know. So let's go over to Jeremiah chapter 17. And when he says in Jeremiah chapter 17, he explicitly lays it out and boxes out this possibility. Because he says, wherefore, I'll start at 3. Wherefore I will make all your substance and treasure be spoiled, or go, or just still turn out to work out for the bad, or you won't have it at all. Either way it goes. And this is something that we are perpetually going through. It happened in one instance with these brothers, but it has been perpetuating as a reoccurring scenario that we face, a real reoccurring problem that we are addressing all the way up until today. Is that very thing, which is our treasure or our money today, our finances aren't being utilized properly, or actually carrying out the same effects that was intended or planned for them to be, or intended and planned for them to actually carry out. So you see that he says, yeah, he says, your substance and treasure be spoiled for the great sin that you have done upon your high places throughout all the coasts of your land. You shall be cast out also from the heritage that I gave you, and I will subdue you under the heavy bondage of your enemies, and a land that you know not. So if they didn't know this land at that time that Jeremiah was receiving that prophecy, then it couldn't have been the United States. I mean, they could the land that is actually the land that we're being casted out from, Salakia, can't be the land that we're actually being casted to, because the land that we're being casted to is a land that we don't even know about. We didn't know about all the way up into the time of Jeremiah. That's right, Khan. So if the brothers want to stay, you know what I'm saying, biblically mind stated, they can't accept the lie that we actually are the people that is indigenous to this land. Because we're the people that's in Deuteronomy 28 and 53 and 54 for a fact. That whole baby mama drama, the deadbeat dad thing that the so-called black man has been plagued with, that stereotype that we've been plagued with, and how we feel in that we actually fulfill it. Trying to get this guy off my thing. Well, that right there goes to show you that those same people is prophesied after Jeremiah to go into a land that they don't know. That's part of the punishment. Whether it was a land that was more closely located to where he was standing at that time, they just didn't know about it. Or if you wanted to carry that same prophecy all the way up until today, it's still legit. It doesn't make it disvalued or illegitimate. It's still legit. Doesn't matter how many times. I'll say it like this: if we get into the land tomorrow and we own our kingdom tomorrow, and you end up not keeping the commandments once again, guess what? You best believe that one of the punishments is going to be you being uprooted from that land and put into a land that you don't know about at that time. You will be dislocated from that land. In other words, you're going to be cut off and put off into somewhere else that you have no say so, or might not even have any navigational any type of navigational knowledge about that area. It doesn't mean that it can't happen. It doesn't mean that it can't happen because it happened once. It means that since it did happen once, you best believe that you're in it again. That's what that means. So he says in Jeremiah 17:3-4 that he was going to cast these people into a land that they didn't know. And then you go to Genesis 15, and it says the same thing. It says that these people are going to be in a land for 400 years that they know not, and they're going to be serving and being treated evil for 400 years. Let's get that. But one of the conditions of that is that they're not going to know, or they're not going to be familiar with that land. That's one of the conditions. Because you not being familiar with a land after you have been relocated from your original land, that puts you into a certain position. It puts you in a level of vulnerability that is going to take you to have an access and free time and free will to be able to actually figure that out. You can't just sit there and from a slave plantation plot out and map out an escape route that's going to be actually accurate. You have no clue. For the most part, a lot of the times the people had no clue what was going on the other side of a mountain. Like over here, we got all this stuff mapped out. We got textbooks and stuff, so we know what's going on beyond the point of your view. You know, when you're looking, like say you're on the West Coast and you're looking east, I know that in between where I'm standing and the ocean, I know that it's a very, 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 very long trip. And I know that halfway through that trip, there's a place called the Rocky Mountains too. I know that. And I know that it is very, very difficult to pass through, so I would have to plan and be ready for that. But if I had no clue that the Rocky Mountains existed, let's say 2,000 miles east of California, I would be in some serious trouble when I ran into that surprise.
All you need is a paper, pencil, and calculator.
So you not knowing your area well is one of the ways to where you have an invisible fence. You are imprisoned. It puts you into a vulnerable position to where you can escape successfully. All right. So when he says at 15 and 13, he said unto Abram, know this of a surety, that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that pertains not unto them, and they shall make bondmen of them and entreat them evil 400 years. But that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out of that land with great substance. So if this land is actually theirs, and they're the indigenous people of that land, there would be no reason for them to come out. Why won't the Most High just destroy all those people that's in their land? But that's not the case. The case stands is that there's a land that has been assigned to the Israelites, and we got to actually be pursuing that land.
Or let's say perhaps you're driving home from work,
not Babylon. All right? You're not supposed to pursue Babylon. You're supposed to pursue your own land that was given to you.
Go to page 72 to learn how to do that.
So when people make that false claim like, yeah, well,
or perhaps wondering, how do you purchase a distressed commercial property?
When people say, yeah, well, all these things
how do you do that?
are Salakia, man. I got somebody talking in the background. Salakia, man. All these things that when people say all these things that they're teaching us in school is false. Why else would they teach you with it? All it is going to do is just make you read the book that's teaching you to leave this place. Read the book that's teaching you to not buy Christmas presents during Christmas. You know what I'm saying?
Your name was meant to be written on
It's going there wouldn't be any reason in a capitalist society to teach you this Bible and teach you slavery
you gotta stop banging because we could use that.
in a capitalist society. That is actually counterproductive towards a capitalist agenda. A capitalist agenda wants the consuming class of people to stay where they're at, consuming. So the products that they are making will be bought. That's nothing but buyer security. So when they say when an erroneous Negro draws a poor conclusion that they're lying about teaching us slavery, you got to ask them, then what would be the reason behind it? Because them teaching me slavery just got me closer into the Bible even more. And the Bible is telling me not to spend money and partake on any of these things that they're depending on me to be buying. They got stores. They got party stores, celebration stores, stores where you go in and go buy just Halloween gifts, Halloween costumes, and birthday balloons, and all this stuff that aligns and goes with and sync with these pagan holidays. But the Bible, and I'm talking about making good money each year off the Negro buying these things. So why would they teach us slavery? That's right. It do anything but take money out of their pocket. It doesn't do anything. It wouldn't do anything for them, but to just have them losing control, which this is something that they don't actually ever display they are willing to do. They're not willing ever to lose control. You see how erroneous people go about this book, and they be unrealistic when it comes down to just trying to think about things critically and sensibly. You don't have to be a whiz or even a student of the historian field. All you really got to do is stop fighting against what is already accepted facts. That's the first thing that you can do. But see, the so-called black man, he thinks now, which they always thought too. They always thought this before I'm warming you up. They always thought this. They think that it's cool to not learn shit. You think that the cool guy in class is cool because he is sitting there learning? No, the cool guy in class is the guy that shows up without even a pencil. He doesn't have any paper. He has no school supplies. He got his pants hanging down his butt, and the teachers are constantly telling him to put his pants in a presentable way.
They filtered a Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Bring it out.
While Chris is using eToro to trade top.
They'll call somebody that's actually reading a book. They'll call him a bookworm or a square or a nerd. Or today they even say things like he's a fake nigga. He's not a real nigga.
Of course I can. All right, you guys take a seat.
You like because I'm reading?
But this time, start all the way.
It's because I'm paying attention?
All right, I'll start all the way at the beginning.
And that right there, that whole mentality is still haunting the so-called black man all the way up into his adulthood. Because now when he wants to call himself becoming conscious or waking up, he's still being that sorry ass student in class still. Don't want to come to school prepared with all the reading or the learning utensils that is needed to actually get this job done. They don't want to do that. They still want to show up to class without any of the material to learn. That's why you got a lot of brothers that run around thinking that they know God, but they ain't even read the book. That ain't nothing but just a student showing up to class without his textbook. He just is you just as disqualified as a student ready to learn as a kid showing up to class without his textbook. And them same people think now that they're being smart by saying, I'm not accepting none of the slavery. And you say, you're not accepting slavery? What do you mean by that? I'm just going to say that they made all that up. You're like, then what was going on? We were all just, we were invaded. Like, what were we doing before? They invaded us. See how you got to deal with these dumbass Negroes? Sometimes you got to ask them all these obvious questions. Well, then what were we doing before the white man showed up? Well, we was just chilling. You're right. But we are the main inventors. Where's all the stuff that we invented? Why was these people over here in the Stone Age? When the Assyrians we're supposed to have came from was dealing with metal. The Africans were dealing with metal. These people didn't have flint-tipped weaponry. These people had iron weaponry. Talk about where we came from. Over here, these people was living in the past. So where's all that ingenuity that the so-called black man is known to be displaying? Where was it? You can't answer those questions because we wasn't over here. All the ingenuity, all the creativity, and everything that the so-called black man is about was over there in the Middle East, where everything is actually still a whole lot more ahead of the game than we are over here in the United States. And I ain't talking about technology-wise. I'm talking about when it comes down to knowing about that spiritual realm. They're ahead. That's why they don't go through the same stuff that we go through over here. That's why you don't got to build large industrial prison. You know what I'm saying? Industrial prison complexes. You don't got to build all them. You don't got to have over 7,000 of them in your country over there in the Middle East. Over there in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world. You got to come over here to the United States, and then you'll see the prison industrial system. You'll see the crazy drug use.
I'm Elizabeth Moss from the Hulu.
You'll see the inequality.
We left off.
Inequality over there. Inequality isn't. I mean, that's a United States.
Season 4.
Like that's a whole United States environment of activity, man. You're gonna come here, and that's where you're gonna actually utilize and learn about like equality. You don't know nothing about equality until you come to the United States. That's when you get introduced. I'm speaking from a foreigner's perspective. That's when you get introduced to inequality. You come over here, and then you'll see a system that's set up where you got the richest nation that probably ever been on Earth, but it's housing some of the poorest people on the planet. And those people are, it don't make no sense. And those people are so arrogant and dumb enough to sit there and actually profess that they've been here all along.
And that they from here.
They from here.
Right, yeah, you said that.
Totally disregarding history. Saying, well, the white man did it. The white man taught you math too. Are you going to disregard math?
Right. How you gonna deny facts?
Like what else are you gonna explain your level of idiocracy? How else are you gonna explain all the Negroes with a low IQ? Are we just some stupid ass people? No. We went through slavery. And in slavery, we was reduced to an animal in a chattel slavery, which we wasn't allowed to read. We wasn't allowed to study. We wasn't allowed to count. Only thing we was allowed to do, it was actually like stay alive and procreate, because that was all big money. Is you being alive and you making more babies was just big money. Nobody needed a smart Negro. Nobody needed a reading Negro in them days. Not to mention, you were the people of the book. So that's that. So one of the main things that they had to do is actually keep you from reading, because your number one superpower is actually reading. Not just it individually, but reading the Bible. The Bible is the black man's history book. The Bible is the black man's superpower. And if you don't go off of the lessons and the warnings that's actually been laid out for you in the Bible, you dumb as hell as a so-called black man. Because it doesn't fit anybody else. Can nobody else actually take these warnings serious? Everything that this book is actually saying is viable information to the so-called black men today. Some people can accept some of it. Some people can accept other parts of it. But for the so-called black men, me and you, all of us, these thick-lipped and these nose-type people, oh yeah, guess what? That's us all the way from the rooter to the tutor, from cover to cover, man. And from cover to cover, it's telling you explicitly, this is not your land over here in your captivity. It's telling us that we're supposed to be going back to our own land. That probably is the only reason why this lie is actually being perpetuated in the first place. It's because these people know that what you're supposed to be doing is going back to your land. So what would they do if these people took you from your land? That means that they have an interest on keeping you in theirs. That's just common sense. And if they got an interest in keeping you in their land, why would you believe that dumbass shit that you're from this land? When somebody forced you to be here, you was running from this place. And now today you think that you being strong and prestigious by saying, I'm going to stand up and say, this is my land. I've been here too. I got a social security number. You stupid.
Man.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, man. Because you got a social security, because you was born here. A prisoner wakes up in his jail cell every day. That don't mean that that's his home. Some of them are just institutionalized. And that's what our people is now. Our people is neutered and institutionalized. Suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Because when you are, listen up, so-called black man. Listen up, Israel. When a foolish brother says that this is our land, this brother is alluding, whether he believes it or not, or whether he even realizes it or not. He is suggesting that we stay here with the white man and then try to reason with the white man, or at the most manipulate him to allowing us to actually have equal rights. So you want to be a white man. Just go on and just say that. Don't sit here and tell me a bold-faced lie like this is and get me to have to try to talk me into disregarding basic and common information. You ain't even got to go through that mess, because that ain't nothing but just some bullshit. Nobody's falling for that. It's about anybody with, 2 cents of a common sense. They're not falling for that. Just go on and just say it. Say, hey, y'all, let's just try to talk the white man and let us be like the white man. Like, we hate being black. Everybody that hates being black, let's start an organization. Let's start an organization. It's called the Ass Kiss. Matter of fact, it's called the Brown Nosers. Let's all start an organization called the Brown Nosers. All right, and go up to the white man, and let them know, like, hey, man, we just want to be treated like a white man. We want to be white with you. Because you're delusional to think that any of these guys is even thinking that they're indigenous to this land and that the white man is going to realize that and move out the way. So what are they suggesting to you when they're saying that? What is they suggesting to you when they say, this is our land?
To get along with the white, just love the white. That's all.
That's it.
Just another Pastor Coke talk, man.
And it seems like a perfectly executed plan.
Traitors.
That comes from somebody that took you from your land and benefits from you being in theirs. And they say, oh, that's not the case. No, you just never thought of that. That's all. You just never thought of that. You didn't think that far into it because you're not a good thinker. Anybody that'll believe that they're indigenous to the United States doesn't think well. They don't sit around using their brain for a long period of time. They get exhausted when they're trying to figure things out, probably within a few minutes, and then they just settle on the easiest thing that they can just fall on. Like, we the indigenous of this one. We were here first. You see them Native Americans in that picture? Yeah. Oh, that's a black man, even though he got perfectly straight hair.
Right?
They'll say that this black man, they'll just settle with it. Fuck it, he's black. Like, why? The picture is fucking dark and it got a lot of tint to it. It does look a little off, but I don't care because I don't really like to think too well. I'm just going to accept that that's a black guy because I really hate seeing myself as a Negro anyways. And if I can sit here and look at myself in the mirror and say, no, that's a face of a Native American that's looking back at you, I feel so much better about, like, that nigger shit that I hate to see. Yeah. I hate those Negroes. That's what somebody is actually saying, man. That's what someone suggests to the people.
Not like the white.
Just be the white man. You're nothing but some money but the white man was working to get. They were aiming for this result from a person. They said, hey, Billy, when I'm done with all this, though, this is going to make a lot of sense. They said, you mean all this buck breaking and this whipping and this depriving of knowledge thing? They said, oh, yeah. When I'm done with all this, it's going to make a lot of sense. This is going to be a person that ain't going to never, ever see himself with any self-dignity. He's going to look at himself and try to run away from being who he is. And he's going to desperately fight to try to be me. All the way to the point to where I can do anything that I want to his people. And they're still going to try to compromise and excuse my behavior.
Damn.
Just so they can actually just be a part of what it appears that they could be a part of. Like, this is what I'm going to get out of this. And then the other one said, he said, damn, man. Seems kind of harsh, but it makes a lot of sense. He's like, yeah, you're damn right. Because we're not in the business of doing things. We're not in the business of being moral. We're in the business of building a capitalist society based off of a consuming class of people. The only way that we can get that done is by talking these Negroes into staying here once everything starts running real fine and dandy. Once we get into our refining phase of this whole little system of slavery, these motherfuckers are not even going to realize they're enslaved anymore. Some of them are going to think that they were here all along. Now that right there, that's the plan. That's a perfect plan that'll come from a devil if he wants to destroy a so-called black man from ever leaving here. And these stupid lame brains just fell for it. They literally fell for it. You got anything on that, Art?
No, well, brothers with that type of, you know what I mean, time frame, man, like you said, man, the word of the year, man, traitors. They're just a bunch of traitors, man. They're going to tell you, they'll try to convince you that you're from this land. Like, what the hell is that going to do for my people? Excuse how I'm talking. But what is that going to do for my people? But hell, all we've been in this position since we've been here is in hell. We've been afflicted this whole time. Why are you telling me that I should stay?
What's up, man? We live. Are you trying to go?
Here? Huh?
No, I was telling Ten Commandments. I told him that we live, saying he want to get that smoke.
Oh yeah. Tell him hit that link.
Do you want the smoke or not, man?
Hit the link.
Okay, let's discuss the topic. Black history in the Bible. Are we from this land or not?
We are the rebellious people that reject the most high God of Israel. What's the head? Now the
well, let's get that online.
As if it was enough for disobedience.
I'm live already. I don't know who that person is.
Who?
All right, just get on. Hey, what's up, Simeon? Or Simon the atheist killer. What's going on? What's going on, man? Peace, man. All right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You still talking to him?
Yeah, I'm still talking to him.
Oh, okay.
But I'm done.
Yeah, man, they're a bunch of traitors, man. They're going to try to tell us that we Native Americans, but they ain't doing nothing for us. Man, to be told that you Native American don't mean nothing. What about what you're supposed to be doing? Why did the Native Americans get the position that they in if you're the Native American? What does the Native American guy say about that?
Right.
Man, and what's so makes sense. There's too many questions to ask. Once somebody says that, you like, so you're not an Israelite? No. So what is how do you get in the same position as the cursed Negro that are Israelites? Shit,
right.
I don't know. So you're not. So you're actually just an Israelite. That's
right.
Taught how to hate yourself.
Right. Because you're sitting there calling yourself a Native American, but you over here with us.
Right.
Why ain't you the Native American? Why didn't you get sucked up into the Native American tribe? if you're a Native American, it should be like a Native American that has a little bit of Negro in him saying, yeah, you know what I mean, I'm mixed with black. But there shouldn't be a Negro way over here with the Negroes talking about I'm a Native American. He's like, when the hell did the Native Americans cross over to where the Negroes was?
Right.
The Native Americans didn't come over here to where we were. They wasn't inviting themselves onto the plantation. If they had any sense, they were getting the hell away. They were getting the hell out of Dodge. They were getting as far as they could away from those activities, if they had any sense. And I want to share my screen, man. Do you hear a beat in the background?
I hear a song.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to go? Nah, I can save it for another day. Because I got an article, man, that I was pulling up the other day, and it shows that the Native Americans, they weren't black people at all. They weren't ever confused as black people. This whole black thing that people are trying to say, like the Native Americans are black people and all that stuff, that was never saw that way back in them days. They never viewed it that way. Those people actually had slaves. They were practicing slave owners. They were well practicing slave owners. They were well practicing
Native
slave
Americans.
owners.
That's a fact.
Yeah, they participated in the slave trade.
Man, they're trying to give certain black people that was slaves to the Native Americans the right to claim that they're Native Americans. Nigga, they're barely trying to get that going right now. They're trying to turn the black people into Native Americans. They're trying to make that shit legal. Even though they know that they were the slaves that the Native Americans had, they're still trying to say that they're Native Americans and that can be legal.
Yeah. And not realizing though,
they're just Negroes.
There's no way of drawing a line and deciphering one from another if you're just going to start saying, well, I'm a Native American. The Native Americans were black. They were black Native Americans. Well, then where do we draw the line? How many Native Americans should we include into our tribe now? And at what skin tone level should we disqualify them? If we're going to disqualify any of them, because they're all going to look the same. But see, when they say that they're Native Americans, all that is just a lie to keep you from wanting to leave here. That's all that it's aiming to do. Other than that, it has no real. It's not tangible. It's not tangible information. Other than that, like, what am I supposed to do with that? Other than start thinking that, okay, well, this is my land. So when somebody says, "Hey, man, let's get the fuck out of here," you're gonna sit there and look at them like, "I ain't gotta leave. I ain't leaving nowhere. This is mine." He's like, "So what are you waiting for? You waiting for the white man to leave?"
No.
You know? Stupid ass niggas. Stupid. That's how you know black people? That ain't following the law, statutes, commandments of God is stupid.
You know, you got some black people that know that the white man ain't gonna leave. So they be like, "No, man, we just get along hand in hand. We just gotta get along, walk hand in hand."
Right. That's why they always start talking about we need to have more politicians. We need to have more doctors. We need to have more scientists. Fuck that Farrakhan talk bullshit. Excuse my language. That's exactly what I meant. Excuse me. But I'm cool on that. That's that stupid old slave talk. Now we some free slaves. Now let's get to work. And let's show these people that we're adequate to fit in. That's what they're trying to say. Let's show everybody that we're adequate enough to fit in with everybody. After we have been gone through centuries of atrocities, let's just teach everybody that we can fit in. Let's get more doctors. For what? Why do I want to be a doctor in the kingdom of hell? Why do I want to be an engineer with these people after what they have done to us? Why should I be thinking and being directed to do anything that's going to take me to still stay living here? Why is that for real? Why is that my next plan? Is to be a politician so I can work inside the United States government? Fuck, I want to do that for? Dummy. What's going on there, Simeon? He said, my brothers. Yes, Khan. Well, what would I want to do that for? What would anybody in their right mind is going to sit there and say that after all we done been through? You got a lot of nerve. You dumb as hell. Yeah, I said it. You stupid as hell, man. Huh?
How dare thou?
For real, man. How dares thou, man? You ought to be ashamed of yourself because you're nothing but a traitor.
Come.
Let me get this scripture real quick, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna have to get him with that Jeremiah again, man.
Where's he at?
Huh?
He never came. Oh, but this dude.
He said 10 minutes. Man, that brother's, man, he is scared shitless to show up. He know not to show up. He ain't saying nothing for real. Right here, he says, I'm gonna start at Jeremiah. Man, bump it, man. I'm gonna start at Jeremiah 30, man. Jeremiah 30, and we'll start at, let's say, I think it's 8. He says, alas, for this day, which is so dreadful that none may be likened unto it. And alas, for the time of Jacob's trouble, from the which he shall yet be delivered. We've been going through Jacob's trouble for the last 400 years, man. He didn't say that, but when Jacob goes through his trouble, he's been prophesied to be delivered from it, not his enemies to be taken from the land that he's at. He is supposed to be taken from the land that he's going through his troubles at. Watch, we'll see. He says, from which he shall yet be delivered. For in that day, says the Most High, I will take his yoke from off your neck and break your bond. They shall no more serve strange gods under him, but they shall do service unto Allahiah, their leader, and to David, their king, whom I will raise up unto them. That ended up being Yahushua HaMashiach. He said, and we're doing that today. We're fulfilling this scripture, and we have fulfilled this scripture for some time now, recently. He said, and as for thee, O my servant Jacob, fear not, says the Most High, and be not afraid, O Israel, for lo, I will help you also from far, and your seed from the land of their what? Possession. Oh no, it didn't say that, my bad. From the land of their captivity, not their possession. This ain't our land. He didn't give us this land. He didn't bring us over here for us to make a future claim on. He didn't bring us over here so you can sit there and say, he gave this land to Israel too. No. This is your prison planet. This is the land of your imprisonment. You gotta look at this place as a gigantic San Quentin. That's all that this is. Some of
Your
us
birth
get sent to the
certificate
hole.
and your social security number is just your prison number.
That's just your prison number. You get sent to the hole. Check it out. In prison, when you mess up in general population, where do they send you? To the hole. Right?
Yeah.
It's just, and the hole is nothing but just a more intensified level of confinement.
Right.
Well, that's prison too.
Yeah.
Because you can't leave here. The wilderness or the sea, the wilderness and the sea determines how far you're going to be going. But if you don't focus on it, you can believe that you're free for the most part. Right?
Yeah.
That's in general population too. In general population in jail, you can kind of just say, you know, I'm free on the inside. This ain't gonna kill me. I'll make it through it. This ain't about to break me. I'm all good. I'll make it through this. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing that we're saying when we're out here. I'll get a job. I'll do better. I'll start getting better paid.
This ain't gonna hurt me. This ain't gonna build me down. It's gonna build me
right.
up.
Right. But yeah, if you mess up, you're gonna end up going into that higher level of captivity where you're not gonna just be saying, oh, I can't go do this because I don't have enough time. You're gonna be facing like, oh, I can't do this because I'm actually like I don't own myself. This place consider themselves as my owner.
Yeah.
That's why they wrote the word property right down my leg. You know?
Damn.
Don't it say that? Don't they write the word property right down your leg?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you see prisoner.
Right. You start finding out, or on the back, or on your back of your shirt. It's either down your leg. I was in a place where it said state property down your leg, but they have it on your back too. But that's the part I always saw. I looked down; it was always on the leg. Like I belong to this state, huh? This state believes that I am their property.
Yeah, you sign yourself over to them. When you get to reception, you sign your body over. You become your property from reception.
Right. Or, better yet, you finally get to realize that you always have been their property.
God.
Because that's what they're actually, you know what I'm saying? They're actually doing that. Because it ain't the first time you done sat around there and you had to sign your name to something before anything happened.
Yeah. Damn.
You like, oh, you gotta sign my name to something. Why do I gotta sign? Why can't I just go ahead and just take this? You ain't gonna allow me to have that? If I just come up with the money, they're like, no, you gotta sign to that too. Because in all actuality, it's not really yours. And if we ever want to take it back, we gotta know who we're gonna be taking it from. And where to find you.
Damn.
You're never free. So as this scripture says right here in Jeremiah 30, it's prophesied to the children of Israel that's going to be going through the Jacob trouble. And that Jacob trouble was the transatlantic slave trade. Nothing can mirror the transatlantic slave trade. That was the atrocity, the most grandest. That was the most atrocious event that happened on a grand scale in the history of man. Nobody knows, and nobody has ever recorded anything that's even close to what happened in the transatlantic slave trade. That was a historical atrocity that dwarfs anybody else's plight. So with that being said, this Jacob trouble, you know what I mean? Which is so dreadful that none may be likened unto it. Nothing can be likened unto the transatlantic slave trade. Well, they're supposed to be taken out of the land of their captivity. So wherever the most atrocious event occurred, and the people that event or that atrocity happened to, according to this scripture, will have to be the children of Israel. And that it is true that they were brought to this place. They wasn't found here. They were brought to this place. And it's promised that they're going to be taken back from it. Because this was only to serve as a place for them to be in captivity or to be in punishment. It wasn't their future homeland. He said, and Jacob shall turn again. I'm right here after he says, and I will help you from afar and your seed from the land of their captivity. And he says, and Jacob shall turn again or come back to the Most High, start actually following after the Most High power. He shall be in Shabbat and have a prosperous life, and no man shall make him afraid. For I am with you to help you, says Yahweh. And though I shall destroy all the people among whom I have scattered you, yet will I not destroy you, but correct you, and that with discretion. For I know that you are in no wise without fault. For that reason, thus says the Most High, I am sorry for your hurt and wounds. There is no man to meddle with your cause, or to bind up your wounds. There may no man help you. All your lovers have forgotten you, and care nothing for you, because I have given you a cruel stroke, and chastened you roughly, and that for the multitude of your misdeeds, because your sins have had the upper hand. Why makest thou money for your harm? I myself have pity of your sorrow. My bad. Why makest thou mourn for your harm? My bad. I said Salaki. Moan for your harm. I myself have pity for your sorrow. But for the multitude of your misdeeds and sins, I have done this unto you. All right? That's what this is about, man. It's for the multitude of our sins. It's not because the so-called white man is so powerful. It's not because the so-called white man whipped our asses in our own homeland. No. We've been put on slave ships and we was deported, relocated from off our homeland so we wouldn't be able to get back to it. So our punishment can actually be for a longer season. But it was all done because of the sins that we have committed. He said, and therefore all they that devour you shall be devoured. So why did he say all that devour us is going to be devoured? It says because he says that he has pity. All right. He says, I myself has pity of your sorrow. But on the other hand, or nevertheless, for the multitude of your misdeeds and sins, I have done this unto you. But for that reason, having the pity and sorrow, all they that devour you shall be devoured, and all your enemies shall be led into captivity. And all they that make you waste shall be wasted themselves. And all those that rob you will I make also to be robbed, because I will give you your health again, and make your wounds whole, says Yahweh, because they reviled you as one cast away and despised, O Zion. For thus says the Most High, behold, I will set up Jacob's tent again, and defend his dwelling. He will defend his dwelling place. The city shall be builded in her old estate, and the houses shall have their right foundation. And out of them shall go thanksgiving and the voice of joy. I will multiply them. They shall not diminish. I shall endow them with honor, and no man shall subdue them. That's the only reason why these people be trying to have us lose debates, is because they can't beat you in any other way. The words that we say in the book that we use and the logic that we actually apply to this whole thing is uncanny. So the only thing that people can try to do is try to get a little bit of this ego, this little ego bump to get scratched. By at least trying to get one in by saying that you, calling you saying that you lost. Saying that what you saying ain't making sense. And I ain't even talking about debate. I'm talking about no matter what we say to these people, man. No matter what you say, these people will try to disregard it. But it's only because what you're saying is impenetrable. If they actually was able to beat you, they would come up with a contrary level of information. Instead, they just disregard and disvalue the information, which is ultimately giving you the victory and accepting their defeat. But when a proud man gets defeated, there's nothing else that he can do but to still profess rebellion. That's the last thing that he got. He's full of pride. So he says, their children shall be as before time, and their congregation shall continue in my sight. And all those that vex them will I visit. So you see how the congregation of the Most High Power is existing at the exact same times where they still could be vexed, or that somebody can come through and give them a problem.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. But if you see, the congregation of God is actually present in this prophecy, and it's actually continuing in the sight of the Most High Power. But at the same time, people are still capable of giving them guff, vexing them, or being problematic to these same individuals. But the Most High is promising that when that happens, He will do something about it. Those people will be punished for those things.
That's right.
So with that being said, it's obvious within this script that the Most High Power is present but not being acknowledged not being acknowledged by most people still, except for probably the Israelites. Because it says that this congregation will still be in, will be continuing or being performed while he is present. But while he's present, people are still capable of coming up to us, messing with us. So you got to ask yourself, is that a scenario to where people are just boldly disregarding God, even though he's literally standing there? And they're like, we don't care. We're still going to go mess with those guys. God is standing there with them, but I'm going to still test the waters. You think that's what it's saying? Or would it make more sense that he's there, but people don't see him? And people still trying to go over there and give these people some guff and some issues and some problems, not realizing that God is standing there with them. Which will cause them to get tripped on by the Most High power. You know what I'm saying? That makes a lot more sense. That's how we can bring some logic and realization to what the scripture is saying.
That he's with us when we in heaven, he's with us when we in hell.
Real. You know? So that means that he's always watching.
Yeah.
So when it says that he'll return and deal with the children of Israel or anything like that, or at his coming and all that, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody is going to be acknowledging it as that. It actually says like it'll be like the days of Noah. People won't even be realizing it. You get it? He said, and all those that vex them will I visit. A captain also shall come of them, and a prince shall spring out from the midst of them. Him will I challenge to myself, and he shall come unto me. So there is an individual that is prophesied about when the children of Israel are supposed to come back. There's two individuals. There's a captain and a prince that'll be present, that have drawn themselves to the Most High power. That's what the scripture says. Some people will try to say, well, that's Christ. I'm like, but these are two different people. He said, a captain also shall come of them, and a prince shall spring out from the midst of them. Him will I challenge to myself, and he shall come unto me. Because what is he that gives over his heart to come unto me, says the Most High. Yeah, I mean, you shall be my people also, and I will be your power. Behold, on the other side shall the wrath of the Most High break out as a stormy water, as a mighty whirlwind, and shall fall upon the heads of the ungodly. And we see the stormy water and the mighty whirlwind. They call hurricane seasons and the tornadoes that we have now. He said, and they shall fall upon the heads of the ungodly. The terrible displeasure of the Most High shall not leave off, until he have done and performed the intent of his heart, which in the later days you shall understand.
That's right.
At the same time, says the Most High, shall I be the God of all the congregations of Israel, and they shall be my people. And you see that? So he's present as he's tearing everything up. He's still the God of the congregation of Israel that is still existing as everything is being torn up. That's exactly what we see happening today. That's prophesied in Jeremiah 30. So when people say we are the people that is actually indigenous to this land is going to be destroyed. This land is going to be destroyed. We're going to go to let's go to Revelations 18 real quick.
The truth will free you if you let it. The truth will free you if you let it. Christ is calling the elect. So kingdom, go and get it. The truth will free you if you let it.
real
That you
quick.
to free you if
You
you
heard
let
me.
it, God.
It says in Revelation 18, and we'll start at 1. He said, and after that, I saw another angel come from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his brightness. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, well, first off, what other light lightens the earth other than the sun? That's just a side note, sidebar.
The
But
moon.
what other light lightens the earth but the sun?
The moon.
Afternoon walk.
Doesn't lighten the moon. Doesn't lighten the earth.
Try YouTube
Oh.
Premium on us.
Yeah, that's right.
The moon. The
Oh,
moon.
you said. I thought you said what other light lights up the earth.
No. It says, and the earth was lightened with his brightness.
Say the work was undone.
So we gotta wait for. So are we waiting for the sun to be replaced by Yahushua?
No, that glory, that brightness is that glory.
Khan. He said, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, great Babylon is fallen, and become the habitation of devils, and the hold of all foul spirits, and the cage of all unclean and hateful birds. For all nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. That's America. This is not our homeland.
We know about those birds. We know about the birds.
Jeremiah 5. So we're gonna get the birds too. But first, before we get to the birds, you see how this now just now covered that whatever this place is Babylon is, it's definitely not the home of the Israelites. It's actually a home for devils, right? It has become a habitation or a home of devils. And the hold or the prison house of all foul spirits, and a cage of all unclean and hateful birds. Because and it gives the reason why. It says, because all nations or all nationalities have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the kings of the earth, all right, have committed fornication with her. So all nationalities have benefited from the slavery that was allowed to happen to the Israelites for following after other gods. That's the wine of the wrath of fornication. Wine, deception. Right? Mockery, deception. Wrath that comes from judgment. The fornication comes from worshiping other gods. Right?
That's right.
So all these people have drunken or benefited from the mockery. You know what I mean? That comes from the judgment of God onto the Israelites that follow after other gods. And the kings of the earth, which are the Israelites, the leaders of the Israelites, have committed fornication with her. And her merchants are waxed rich of the abundance of her pleasures. So now we got the pastors, and we got these quote unquote businessmen in the United, black businessmen, and the pastors and performers, the leaderships over here in this country has gotten and waxing rich in the United States. Over the selling, the buying, and the utilizing of lust. They are waxed rich of the abundance of her pleasures. And I heard another voice from heaven say, come away from her, my people, that you be not partakers in her sins, that you receive not of her plagues, receive not of her 12 different coronavirus strains. Come out of her. Not wait until the Most High liberates you in that land, or wait until the Most High gives you that land. It doesn't say wait until the Most High gives you that land. It says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, that you receive not of her plagues. So being part of her is partaking in her sins also. Partaking of her sins is still being a part of her. Whether you are out of this country or not, if you are still committing the sins or practicing the philosophies that you've learned over here in the United States, also known biblically as Babylon, you are still in sin. You will still be committing sins. And that's going to make you viable to be getting hit with these plagues that the Most High Power has sent upon these folks, man.
Balance of life is really like, man, sinners around.
So when these people are sitting there thinking that this is the place of their home, this is the place that the Bible is telling the Israelites that you got to, or this say this is so-called black man. It's saying to the so-called black man, yeah, you got to get the hell out of here. This is not the place for you. This is a blown spot. He says, at 5, he says, for her sins are gone up to heaven, and the Most High has remembered her wickedness. So these people, all the way at the highest position of power, is these people consciously aware of the sins that they are committing, especially onto the so-called Israelites, or the so-called black man, my bad, to the Israelites, also known as the so-called black man. They know what they're doing. They know that they're causing us to purposefully sin. They know that they got us at Sunday worship, and that is illegitimate to the so-called black man. They know that shit. The people that's at power, they know that they're causing us to sin. They're saying, well, they're sinning. I don't give a damn about them sinning. The fuck? Don't come at me with none of that. They was never given the laws, so they couldn't have been sinning. These sins that they're talking about in here is the sins that was talking about in the book of Zephaniah chapter 1 also, where it says that these people have caused us, they have caused God to trip on us. They have furthered our oppression by causing God to trip on us. There's no other way of causing God to trip on us other than to get us to sin. So when it says, for her sins are gone up to heaven, and the Most High has remembered her wickedness. So it's letting you know that she's responsible for some sins. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you, and give her double according to her works, and pour in double to her in the same cup which she filled unto you. And as much as she glorified herself and lived wantonly, so much pour you in for her of punishment and sorrow. For she said in herself, I sit, being a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. For that reason shall her plagues come at one day.
Daughter Babylon burn.
Death, sorrow, and hunger. And she shall be burnt with fire. What? She shall be burnt with fire. For strong is Yahweh Allahiyah, which judges her.
That's right.
So this is not even a land that anybody with common sense, or common biblical sense, will be trying to claim as theirs. The only people that claim these things are people that ain't reading this book. And it's a damn shame, because we got a lot of Israelites that's claiming that this is our land, proving that they're not even reading this book. I don't know what channels they be on, and I don't know what channels they learn from or what classes they attend. But if they're not covering that this spot right here is a spot that we should be not claiming, I don't know what the hell the teacher's doing, trying to talk and call himself a teacher. I'm not even saying that rhetorically speaking. I'm literally. I don't understand why he's teaching. He should be an enthusiastic student. He should be enthusiastically
Every
partaking as a
challenge
student,
brings new opportunities. Find
signing
yours
up to
and get
learn.
free from the
Like
University of
why? Because
Arizona
you know damn
online.
well you ain't
Bringing
you're not
academic
reading this
excellence
book.
to your fingertips, so you can stay home.
And if you are reading this
Go to
book, you're gonna sit here and try to say, well, no,
online.arizona.edu to apply
you're wrong,
today.
Battle Axe. I am reading this book. I read this book more than once. He's like, then what'd you miss about Revelations 18? What'd you miss about Jeremiah 30? Like, what'd you miss? Aren't we supposed to be leaving the land of our captivity?
What's happening, Lee? Choices.
Is this Babylon a spot that's prophesied to be burning? Did the Most High Power ever send us to a land that's burning? Did he send us to a land that's on fire? No. So when people are making these statements,
not for inheritance.
nah, he never sent us to no burning land. He didn't send us to Sodom. He didn't say here's Sodom. He didn't destroy Egypt and say, here you go. Now it's your turn. Have at it. He took us out of these places, and these places were to never be visited again by the Israelites. Not at least not in that caliber. And the same thing applies with the United States. When we leave here, we're not supposed to come back here and see the same place standing.
No.
This system is supposed to be destroyed. Let me back that up. This system is already being destroyed. This ain't a place that you can start trying to claim for any type of long-term plan. This is only a temporary spot now. It's safe to assume that if you ain't got gray hair within the next 10 years, you're probably going to be getting your gray hair on another side of the freaking planet, man. What? I said you'll be growing and gaining your first gray hairs on a completely different hemisphere. Your kids ain't gonna be an adult in the next 10 years. Your kids might be walking into adulthood on the other side of the damn planet. This place is done. And I'm saying the word might. I know it's going to be happening with the Israelites, but I'm just saying it might because some of y'all is wicked as hell.
That's right.
Some of y'all is just hell bent on rebellion. That it's not a promising thing that you're going to make it through all this. I can't just say that about a lot of people. Some of y'all will be destroyed. Some of y'all will perish. But those that actually want to humble themselves and come down off their high horse and not acknowledge themselves as a god.
That's right.
And got enough maturity to sit there and realize, like, I am not in control. I am not my own God. I am going to step down and become solely reliant on the deity of the Bible. Those that actually have enough dignity and they lack pride in themselves enough to actually sit there and say that, I believe that you're going to make it through all of this. But everybody else that can't do that, man, I'm going to let you know, man. Live it up. This is the best that it's going to get, man.
That's right.
For you. Time's ticking. Because we read the Bible over here at One Nation Set Apart.
That's right.
And the Bible is telling us, man, that you got to walk this straight and narrow path, man. Because the Most High Power, he ain't got nobody actually, in all actuality, has no use for somebody that's kind of like still in between. You know, you're living like that, like you're not really 100% about God, but you know, you're not 100% about the devil either.
Only be accepted by Yahuwah.
You're an uncommitted individual. You lack commitment. And nobody needs you. Nobody needs you. You don't make a good gang member. You won't make a good soldier for the United States. You won't even make a good sensei for a dojo. You ain't shit.
Only I appeal to, trying to take it up a level. Yahuwah love unboxed in.
Yeah.
Life rough like cross skin.
Yeah, I said it, man.
Move in the mountain.
You worthless.
With the world
I can't trust you.
Box the devil like farming. Without Yahuwah, that's torment.
And if I know anything about you displaying them behaviors and I see you on the other side of that gate, I'm gonna tell you, I'm snitching. Like what? Like, yeah, I said it. Snitching on your ass. I'm like, hey, hey, hold on, wait a minute. How did he get in here? They're like, what? Him, that dude right there. You. Yeah. He was a fucking traitor. I know that dude. Yeah, I'm snitching. Told on your ass. Gonna expose you, man. I'm gonna expose y'all niggas that left. I'm gonna expose all y'all niggas. I'm gonna expose all y'all niggas that sitting there trying to sneak in, trying to pretend like you down with the get down. Don't be like, no, he wasn't. That light-skinned dude right there. You see that little light-skinned fuck? That nigga dissed us. He turned his back on his God. And the way that he was able to do it is because he talked himself into believing that he's only did it to us. I wasn't dissing God. I just dissed you. Well, if I see you on the other side of the gates, I'm telling. Like that nigga right there, that's a fucking turncoat. That's a real traitor right there. He's liable to be a snitch. And I'm talking about to the white man. He's liable to be sitting around there trying to get niggas locked up. He's liable to do anything. Why? Because he has no commitment to his God. He has no commitment to his people. He's a turncoat. Yellow belly worm.
Father, forgive me, please. The things I did wrong. I'm down on bended knee. I wanna go home.
Yeah, I said it.
Father, forgive me, please. I wanna come home.
So you feel me though? So when these brothers are sitting around here trying to say that, hey, yeah, man, this is our land. You're wrong. If you're an Israelite, you saying that, you're wrong. This is the land of our captivity.
This our land. Those are people. Because that's what comes with that. Once you say this is our land, you gotta say those are our people because this is their land.
Yeah, exactly. You can't
Picture this. Your team
exclude
at home.
the Native Americans
but something's happened.
From this
That's
place.
Why you need Asana to stay organized and connected. Visit
like I had to ask somebody the other night. They said, we are the Native Americans. I said, well then who are they?
For real.
And it's I'm talking about it is mind blowing to realize they don't have an answer for that. It blows my mind. I'm like,
I never thought about that.
Yeah. I'm like, you wasn't prepared for that? It never dawned on you that somebody was going to ask you? Well, then who are they? You got a lot of nerve, too, to be sitting around here trying to claim that you're them now. If I was a Native American, I'd be mad as hell.
Yeah.
I'll be online making videos against black dudes. If I was a Native American, I heard that crap. I would set the record straight. I'd be like, yo, look at these niggas and be like, shit, you got Like, y'all niggas is coming over our shit now? All right, nobody wants you. Nobody wants you. Yeah, we said it. The Native Americans are saying it too. Nobody wants you.
Yeah.
So you gonna come over here and try to take mine? Because you can't find no place where you fit in. So you're gonna just try to turn yourself into me? That's the things that you guys give me for when we allowed a few y'all some refuge. Yeah, we said it. Just a few of y'all some refuge. We allowed a few of y'all some refuge. And then you fast forward it to today, and this is the thanks that you give us. You trying to claim our nationality. I'm still a Native American speaking right now. You're trying to claim our nationality? Y'all Negroes have got a lot of nerve. Y'all dumb as hell. Y'all desperately hate yourselves. If our hair wasn't curly the way that it is, man, these people would, man, there's some people that would try to say that they're Asian. There's some people that would believe that they're Asian. Look at my eyes. My eyes is squinted. You see my grandmama's eyes? They were squinted too. They'll say some shit like that. I'm Chinese. Fucking embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic. But yeah, man. That's all I really wanted to touch on it. I said that brother, he was afraid to show up. You know, because I was keeping it real. I keep it real, man. Showing up, trying to go up against Akmalot and Battle Axe. It's not something that anybody is willing to want to do no more, man. They learned. Everybody's learned now. They learned that these dudes at One Nation Set Apart, they work with their God and they know the book of their God. That's safe to conclude. Look right at them dudes like, oh no, they know that book. There's no sense to going over there because all they're gonna do is destroy your doctrine, forcing you to look at yourself like you done made a big mistake and you a damn fool. That's what we do. So there's never no wonder why we only have one-time guests. They'll come by, showing up one time, and then they know not to come back for that shit no more. Because because one thing we gotta let everybody know, we don't meet anybody that comes on to our panels. These are not people that are just randoms. These are people that are these are internet personalities, I'll say. These are social media personalities. These people are on social medias. They are teaching information and exchanging doctrines and, you know, for the most part, teaching, we'll say. These people consider themselves as teachers. They come over here to us. And what they try to do is they try to pit their knowledge up against ours. These people are leaving. I'm talking about they be leaving with missing legs, missing eyes and shit, broken arms. You know what I'm saying? They leaving just busted and battered. Doctors completely dismantled. We dissect everything that they say, and through the spirit of Yahushua Bahasham, through the spirit of the Ruach Bahasham Yahushua Hamashiach, you feel me? We just sit here and just completely hand these mothers they doctrines back, ripped apart. Like, here you go. Here's what's left of that bullshit doctrine you showed up with. There, they gotta fucking scoop it up, gather it into their clothes, into their shirt and shit, because it's just in bits and pieces. We tear it up.
Hallelujah. 977 Bakar.
So when a dude comes through and calls himself the 10 Commandments and he doesn't even know the 9th commandment, you ask him, what's the 9th commandment? And he doesn't know it. What's the 5th commandment? He don't know it. You think that it'll be a good idea to show up over here to One Nation? Not a good idea. Don't come over here.
That's a solemn request for help, or you just being thankful.
We're merciless lions.
It is written.
We don't care if you're a female. We don't care if you're new into the truth. We don't care if you're another nationality and you just down with it like that. We are not respecters of men over here at One Nation. We're merciless lions. We'll rip you to shreds.
That's right.
With that being said, man, all praises to the Most High Power, man. Bahashan Yao Shahamashiach, man. Kahalaha Abba. Akmalak Torah. Finna has battle axe. One Nation, set apart. Don't forget to like and subscribe, man. Maranathar, that means our master shows up, man. He's already spying on us, man. That's that rainbow around the sun. Y'all niggas better get it right, man. Y'all better realize that you're being spied on. That's why we over here at One Nation Set Apart operate in a certain way. It's because we know we getting spied on. We know we're being watched. And we ain't worrying about no damn the whites. We talking about that one. We talking about that one that can destroy your body and cast that into hell. And your soul or your life. Have you come back as a retarded white girl? Yeah, I said it. How about that one? How about trying to come back as a retarded midget white girl? Yeah, I said it. Midget. Horrible. You a retarded, midget, disabled white girl? You got to fear a God that can do that to you. You don't want all that. You don't want to boo-boo on yourself for the rest of your life and remain asexual. Never be able to procreate. Never be able to walk. Smelling like boo-boo all the time. The Most High Power can do that. And before he kills you, he can have you walking around as an AIDS patient. Walking around with hepatitis or syphilis. Going blind or something. Losing your mind. Lose your family members. Watch your people suffer and die. Like, you got to fear that type of God.
That's right.
You got to fear that entity. Don't be afraid to fear God. That would be one of the smartest things that
they already
you'll be able
afraid
to
of him.
decide.
They fear him. They fear him, so they're afraid to fear him.
They fear him in one sense, but then at the same time they don't fear him and thinking that he's going to do anything to them, or they think that they can handle what he'll do.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, they'll say to themselves, they'll say this one thing like, well, I don't even care, you know what I'm saying? If God does something to me, then fuck it, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? He'll do something. And then I'll be looking, I'll be like, I don't think you you don't understand that though. You don't understand that. You don't want what God will do to you. There's a lot of things that in your life you already know that you don't want to be involved in. There's a lot of things that you can sit there and profess right out of your mouth, off the top of your head. Like, name something that you are definitely against happening to you. You don't want to happen. And people can come up with anything. They'll say it. You'll be like, well, God can do that to you, though. God can put you in a predicament where that can happen. Like somebody say, shit, I wouldn't want to spend the rest of my life in prison. I'm like, exactly. You wouldn't want to spend the rest of your life in prison. Like, but if you keep fucking around and dissing God, there's nothing to say that couldn't happen. You just might drink some alcohol, and somebody just might say, hey, man, can you give me a ride real quick? You say, oh, yeah, for sure. And as soon as you get into that car, you turn a corner, there's a lady there with a stroller. Squish. She was jaywalking and whatever the fuck. But at the end of the day, you just now ran over this lady's stroller. with her baby inside of it. You got alcohol in your breath. You're going to prison for the rest of your life. It happens like that to people sometimes. That's somebody's story. They're called accidents. We have a God that you should fear.
God.
And I'm not talking about just be afraid of him showing up. Y'all should respect that God and know what he can do to you and take advantage of the mercy that he offers.
That's right.
Only a dumbass person wouldn't take up that offer. And anybody that has any type of business minded type of mentality knows that that's insurance. That's insurance. Like, yeah, of course. You might own a business that never burned down. You might own a house that never burns down. But if you do own a house, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get fire insurance. Just in case. Just for the fact that houses do burn and there is no warning before it happens. So just for that sake, take the preventative measures. The same thing applies with your afterlife and your life with your God, man. Take the preventative measure. Seek the kingdom of the Most High Power, man, and stop being so blasphemous and get all that arrogant shit out of your mouth before the Most High Power has to come and do the smackdown. That's right.
That's right.
Hallelujah, oh Kahalaha Abba. Bahasham Yah Shahamash Yah. Go praise to the Most High Power, man. Maranatha, our master shows up. Akbalak, Torah, Battle Axe, finna has. Taking over the world single-handedly. We're taking over the world single-handedly. The prince and the general. That's right. I was fucking with y'all. No, I'm just messing with y'all, but man, we out. All praise to the Most High, man. The water, Akasha on up.